Hey guys, Kev here, and I want to do some reviews on a few knives. One that I really like, the Mini Axon here from Vero. I did not expect to fall in love with this knife, and I don't know if it's just this particular one or what, but this thing is insane. And then I have the Kunwu X-Tao, which is a really good Axis style lock folder. I have a couple of gripes, but nothing crazy. And then you have the Kunwu Orion V2. And this one, I kind of want to see if I can strengthen the detent a little bit, because it's just very lackluster. So that was going to be my first attempt here, or first thing I do. And I apologize, my nose is going to sound terrible. I just have something going on, a cold, sinus infection, I don't know what. And it's super tight. Let's try the old Shubster. There we go. They either tighten the shit out of it, or they Loctited the shit out of it. I may take a look first and see if maybe instead of adjusting the detent, maybe it's just the tightness, which sorry, I'm trying to grab shit. Sometimes your knife can be too tight and then it doesn't flip properly. So let's give that a shot first. It's very dirty. Okay. Which is okay. I mean, knives get dirty. Just try to clean everything. And we'll put this back in and just see what happens. Switch to this guy though. Alright, so we're centered. Yeah, it looks like it. Yeah, there's a little bit of play, so I think it's just the detent is light. I'm gonna really loosen it. I mean, if you fling it, it comes out, but one thing I don't love about taking apart Kunwus is sometimes their tooling is really shallow. You can see the screws are T6, so we'll see what's going on here. Actually, first, let me make sure the detent, yep, that's tight. They're using Chicago screws, is that what those are called? I do kind of like those, to be honest. Backspacer came out. I think we're good, yeah. So let's open her up. Geez, she's just coming apart. We get it. Alright, so we don't have multi-rows in there like the Tao. And here she is. So my goal is to just bend this in slightly. Now, I need to be careful because I actually had a prototype of the Asher Spiro with hole that Kunwu made. And when I bent that, it literally folded. Like, the lock bar was so weak that it just folded in. And then when I folded it back to try to straighten it, it literally snapped off. So I just need to be very gentle with this. And what I'm looking at is, you see how the end of this piece is right about there? I want to move it over a little bit. So right now it's lining up right about here. And I just want to shift it over a little bit. And I can see that I did that. Okay. I was very gentle, trying to be freaking careful because apparently these will come apart on you, so sorry, will break. And that could have just been the reason why that prototype wasn't perfect, because that specific one just hadn't been treated right. You're supposed to harden titanium, I believe. What's going on here? Try that again. There we go. I'm not messing with anything else. I literally just want to see if I can tune that up a little bit. If I have a central screw like that, I'll try to use that first to tighten the frame down, because it seems like it'll spread the pressure or whatever evenly if it's halfway, instead of tightening one at the end or the pivot, you know. Let's see. I don't recommend doing this, but this one just felt like it needed some adjustment. And they sent me the knife, so, you know, I'm really just damaging my own knife at this point if I damage it. And I can always hopefully get it back if I have some issues. Because you could cause the lock bar to go too far over, you could cause stick, you could have all types of issues. So, what's going on here? Okay. I'm being gentle because, again, tooling is usually shallow. This feels a little bit better, though. All right. See how it's still failing pretty easily. Doesn't look like we caused any issue, so I think I'm gonna try one more again. I didn't go far enough, or maybe I didn't go anywhere at all. It felt a little bit better. I don't know, it's hard to tell sometimes, you know. Luckily, so far, it's not a super difficult process. So I'm hoping I can just do it again real quick. So now you can see it's right about there. It's not, I don't know if I actually did move it. So again, it folded on me the one time, so I'm being super freaking careful here. Okay, I think that's about as far as I want to go. I'm not sure, again, if I moved it at all, but it looks a little bit farther along. But I was getting to the point where it felt a little bit uncomfortable. Like I just don't want to snap it, you know. That would be a waste of a knife. And it's not like it's unusable, it's just not my preference. So let's see. Let's see what's going on here. I think our pivot turned a little bit. Please stay in there. God, it's so annoying, these freaking little barrels. Sometimes it's easier to get the pivot on, and then, yeah, there we go. And that's the one downside to steel hardware, is it'll jump. And now I'm having a struggle here trying to get this one screw in. I'm going to have to probably Loctite it, but I want to make sure first. So, of course, freaking barrel falls out. Tolerances are pretty good, actually, because it's just coming apart, going together. Their build quality, man, when they want to do something well, they can really crush it. Like, I was pretty disappointed on our prototypes for the stout, but we'll see there. Oh yeah, okay, so obviously the drop shot's not going to be the best or the same, but it's shaking, and it's not, you know, it's still not great, but I think it's better. I mean, I feel like now I'm getting a sort of thunk when it comes out. You hear that? Versus before, where it was kind of just leaking out and locking up. Our lockup looks to be still pretty good, so we didn't cause any issues. There's a little bit of grab on that lock bar there, but that could easily just be some oil, because I see oil from probably the pivot or something in there. So clean that off. Yeah, it's not anything. A little bit of play, so let me tighten it up. Make sure this is tight again. Dead centered. Yeah, feels good. All right, mission accomplished. So they just set the detent too light, possibly on this example or in general, I don't know. But a little bit of care and patience, and we took care of that. So I will probably Loctite this, but first let's get into the review stuff. I don't want to spend all day just blathering about that. So I did bring some stuff out to cut. So I thought that might be good. You guys don't get a lot of cutting on the channel, and I thought I haven't really done much with these. So it would be a good opportunity. This knife, first off, aesthetically, I think looks really nice. I enjoy this knife aesthetically. It is the Orion V2. They did this originally with a, like a red checkered collar, I think, and S35VN. It was their first knife, and it was really well made, and I think they were selling them for, the price was stupid. At the time, I think it was like $130 or something in S30. It might have even been like $100 on pre-order and $130 afterwards. S35VN titanium frame lock. At the time, you know, it was like 3-4 years ago. At the time, that was very cost effective. That price was amazing. They kind of set the bar in that regard, and they've continued to do that, I would say. But anyway, aesthetically, I think it looks good. You got this really dope looking drop point, very cool looking handle. I really like the Orion. It fits the hand really good ergonomically. I do wish it had an actual choil, but you can kind of grip right here and just hope you don't touch the edge. If you're going to do harder stuff, you probably want to stay back here. You can put your finger up here. There's no jimping up here. There is a little bit back here, which works, but I'm usually going to be up here when I'm cutting or whatever. You have a flat grind. This is M390, and I believe it is 6162 HRC. That's what they shoot for on their M390, which is really good to know. And it's got this machine ground satin, which is kind of what they do on most knives, I feel like. You got the Kunwu logo back here, and you got this little H kind of thing going on here. I still don't know what that is, but they use it on all their stuff. Orion 2, K701-2, M390. These are not numbered or anything, because I don't think they did a Kickstarter for these. It was like an add-on, I think, for your X-Tao. And then I think they just have them on their website. The action, man, after tuning that lock bar, I'm really digging this, actually. You can see there I actually missed it. So if I just pull back and brake, yes, it's not going to fire all the way. But if I give it anything, it's coming out. And most people are going to give it a good pull, and then it sounds authoritative. Where before I made that adjustment, it didn't. Even if you hammered it, it kind of just thunked out. And now it's, very satisfying. And honestly, I don't think it took away from the close at all. It's still a very smooth shake shut. One thing I'll say about Kunwu is their pivots are always smooth as butter, man. The two things I think that they really like to focus on is a super smooth, just glassy pivot, and a really good heat treat. They're all about heat treating production knives at a good heat treat range, so it's not going to be like custom heat treat level, but if you're getting M390 and it's consistently 61, 62, trust me, compared to most OEMs, that's really good. So I really do like this. Let's grab something to cut. I grabbed some peanuts here. I don't know why, I just figured we could do that. They cut right through there. I just realized this is my kind of like recording board. I don't want to cut on it. So let's just grab this thing and put that underneath. And this is just, again, peanuts. But you can see it goes right through them. It's got a good edge on it. It's not fighting anything here. It's just going right through. It's kind of a dumb test, but hey. And then I brought a little bit of cardboard out here. I thought maybe we could check that out. So if we kind of get into this cut right, oh yeah, ooh, that's some butter right there, baby. So get and cut. Oh, sorry, I hit the heel, I think. Yeah, hit the heel. Look at that. Look at that. Woo! Man, get it from this angle. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. This guy will cut, baby. All right. So I think we've proven that the Orion here cuts. They're really all about, I should have mentioned geometry when I said what they focus on, because that's something that Sergio over at Kunwu is all about. Geometry, heat treat. Sorry, I'm hitting the light. I kind of tried to get it closer today. Yeah, I dig it. I really dig it. It's thin behind the edge, guys. I mean, it feels super slicey. And I'd venture to guess the price point on this guy is, $180 or less. That's usually where they're at for M390 full titanium. It does have an orange peel finish, but it looks good for an orange peel. Not usually an orange peel guy. See if it loosened up at all. Yeah, we got a little bit of play in there, but I'll Loctite it when I'm done here. Excellent knife, honestly. Orion V2. Cool. The next one is another Kunwu. This is the Kunwu X-Tao, and this is an axis lock version of the Tao, which was a super popular knife. I personally was all about that knife, helped promote it, helped do a pre-order with him, with them on it, and it's kind of the knife that got me connected with Kunwu. Although I did really like the Ronin, which is different from the Orion. It's a little confusing. But they did that one at M390 and titanium, and it was $135 on Kickstarter. It was just stupid. And then they followed it up with this, which is the Tao X, which has the X lock, which is a crossbar axis style lock knife in LMAX steel this time. Got the same full flat grind, beautiful geometry there. Again, your heat treat's going to be in that optimal range. I don't know what it is here, but trust me, they focused on it. This is number 201 of 400. I also had the titanium one. There was two versions, but I did give that away during my 5K live, so shout out to Kunwu for that. And it has not been claimed yet, so it may end up back in the giveaway pile or somewhere, I don't know. But I will say the carbon fiber one is a little bit lighter, and I like that for the size. You're getting a 3.5-inch blade here, and it weighs like nothing. It's super freaking light, but the titanium feels good in hand, so it's kind of a trade-off. You do have full liners on both sides. They're nested. I love the lock. This is probably the best implementation of the axis lock, including the axis lock. it has these beautiful tabs with a little bit of jimping, and it swells out at the bottom. So you just, it's such a good release lever. I mean, you just, man, it just feels like nothing. And then they have this beautiful pivot. You know they're running on bearings, possibly multi-row in there. I don't think so though, but I mean, it's just frictionless. It's really good. The only, there's a couple things, I guess. The biggest downside for me on this knife is the D10. There isn't one. Like, it's really easy to shake out. To overcome that spring is pretty easy, sorry. So if you're used to an Axon style lock, like, I do think that Hogue does a pretty good job with it in terms of the spring. They use these Wolf springs. It's still not like strong, but it's stronger than this. So you'll see, you know, it takes a little bit to push it out. If I do the shakeout, see how it took a little bit more there, where this one, it's already past it. So this just feels like you get more pressure behind the flick and everything. But everything else about this one is better. It's more comfortable. It's definitely smoother in the pivot. So, you know, it's a give and take. If you're okay with the detent, then I think you'll really like this knife, to be honest. I don't love the detent, and I still am kind of okay with this knife. As long as you carry it in the proper pocket with the blade against your pants, you should be safe. Don't be carrying this knife in the wrong pocket, because if you have it this way, you jump off a counter or something, or you bump it, it's going to probably open, and you're going to have a problem. So keep it tucked against the seam so the blade can't open. That's my biggest piece of advice with a knife that's a Axis style lock or a shark lock or something like that. Sorry. My nose is like all stuffed up. But yeah, it's got this wire clip, and it comes with an extra clip. It is centered, looks good. The other thing I don't love are these studs or triangles. I kind of like them. So I don't know if it's more the detent or the studs, but they're pretty good with the thumb. But if you go to reverse flick it, I don't know, it's just a little weird for me. I'd rather just have traditional studs or a hole, honestly. But, you know, they were trying to be different. I get it. It looks good. I do wish it was some kind of different carbon fiber. They just went with a standard checkered weave. But again, on Kickstarter, I bet these were like $130, $150 tops. So it's hard to complain about it, you know. So let's just take a look. Cut those like freaking, we're chopping onions up in here. And then you have this thing, which is, you know, just like a letter. And I love testing that, because a knife that can glide through this stuff is for me, dude. Because that's what I do a lot. I cut open packages like that. We're going against the grain there. Let's see. Not quite as slicey as this guy. I mean, I can just feel a bit of a difference there. This one just glides right through like butter. This, a little bit of resistance. It's not like bad. It's still really good, you know, but it's not fantastic or anything. But if you were going to do a long cardboard cutting session, I think it would be fine. I don't think you'd have an issue or anything. But I think I would like that Ronin a little better. In terms of ergonomics, though, I think I like this better. It's a little more neutral. You can choke up easily, where on the Orion here, sorry, I said Ronin, you only get this grip, really, you know. Plus, you get the Axis lock instead of the frame lock. Ergonomically and everything, that is better, in my opinion. And as a lefty, I think it's better as well. So I really like the CF X-Tao. I like the Thai one too, but I'd rather have a little bit lighter weight, so I kept this one. Really cool knife. So I think these are available on their website as well as these. So if you guys want to check them out, I'm sure they're great prices and everything. And then lastly, I have the Mini Axon from Vero Engineering. And this was a huge surprise. So shout out to Umnumzan, aka I think EDC and Beer, aka Thoughts. I'm not sure what the hell his tag is on Instagram. I'm always terrible at deciphering their nickname versus their actual name. But he loaned this to me along with the Micro Apache. And that's what he was sending, the Micro Apache, for me to compare to the Baby Barlow. And if you guys want to see a size comparison, here is the Baby Barlow, which is the same size as that Micro Apache. Here's that Orion. Here's the X-Tao. So you can see it's a pretty small knife, the Mini Axon, which makes sense. It's called the Mini Axon. Let me grab something you guys might know. The Nimble here might be a good comparison. So yeah, it's even smaller than the Nimble. Handle-wise, it's about the same, but then blade length, you get a little more on the Nimble, probably because of the choil there. I don't know. But what really draws me in, what I love about it, is two things. The size actually works really well. I always thought the Axon was just slightly too big for me personally, right? I'm sure a lot of people love that knife for the size, 3.5 inch, great EDC size. Like somebody like Joseph Vero, he has larger hands, I think, because all of his stuff usually comes out first with a 3.5 or 3.75 inch, 3.6 inch blade, something like that. And then he'll do like a smaller version, right? I guess that's not always, but I feel like that's what happened with the Impulse, the Synapse. I guess he did the XL. I don't know, whatever. But this, like, excuse me, like, I think personally a medium size would maybe be the best for me. Like, this is probably, you know, a little under 3-inch blade, where I'd probably want 3.25. You guys know that's the sweet spot. Let's grab the Urban here and see size-wise. Yeah, so that's what I was thinking. Dead on with the Urban here. So I think the Urban's listed at 2.75, maybe. I don't know if you heard it snap out. My God, so good. And then the Rosie is at 3.1 again, I think. So yeah, there you go, a little bit bigger. So kind of doing that for me there, but whatever. So I think 3.25 would be like my sweet spot for this, but I think I like this honestly better than I like the full size. Now the reason being is the size and the detent. This has a detent. That was my biggest gripe with almost every Vero item I've ever had. Every Vero knife is the detent is just too light. Other than the frame lock Axon, they seem to be dialed in. So I don't know if this is just a good example of one, or he tuned it, or if they all ship that way. So if you have a Mini Axon, please let me know. I'd be curious to find out if they all have this snappy detent, because this is a game changer. The thing I didn't love about the Axon was you had to really give it a flick because the detent was like super light, right? And they do that because they want it to be drop shutty. That's always kind of Joseph's thing, is lighter detent, more drop shut. But I'd rather have a little less drop shut and a perfect detent, because you get that really satisfying, you know, flick out. And this has that. And that's why it just sort of blew me away. I did not see it coming. I was not interested in this knife at all. And now I kind of want one. This is number 481. It's in this red, black G10, I guess. And this black wash blade actually looks really good. And ergonomically, it fits my hand really well. It just melts because you have that flat spot up there. So really good option here. And the front flipper works well. And the slots work well. It works great left-handed. So yeah, I'm impressed, and I really like this knife. So let's cut a couple things with it. See how she does. Now this could be used a bit, so we'll have to see. Ooh. Interesting. Did not want to go through that. Oh, okay, yeah. Going right through that. Now, what do you consider that? Single walled, I guess. So you guys tell me. I'm not the expert. I just want to get a piece here so we can cut a little bit. Feels a little thick. So I don't know if it doesn't feel like dull or anything. That could just be the tape gunk I'll wipe off, obviously. I think that's just what we're encountering, because when it is slicing, it's butter, right? So I think that, I don't know if it's the stock. It's got a pretty thin stock. It's almost full flat grind. You know, the bevel's not very large, and I wonder if that's the issue here. You see how small that primary bevel is? But I'm not an expert, guys. You saw it. You tell me in the comments what you think. I think it cuts fine. I think for EDC and everything, it'll be fine. I think we were having issues with that bag because I had cut it with everything else already. So maybe let's just try a different one. Yeah, see? All good. So, it was probably just frayed all over the place. I like it, man. I really like it. Centering, pretty much dead on. And again, I haven't, this is a loaner I haven't touched. There's no play or anything. Solid. It's got the lock bar insert. I normally don't like thicker knives, and I don't think this is thicker, but they made it thick enough to take an insert on the titanium frame lock or lock bar. I think Joseph is kind of the one to start that titanium liner lock thing with insert. I can't say he's the first one to do it, but the first one I came across. So it's funny, in the lefty group on Facebook, EDC for Lefties, go check it out. Joseph actually asked what model would the lefties like next, a Mini Axon or the Synapse? And I 100% was like, Synapse, because, it's just a different model. It'd be really cool to get one with the pocket on one side for lefties, But after handling this, I'm kind of like, damn, I kind of feel bad for saying that. I kind of wish I could get a lefty Mini Axon. And I wonder, it might be easier to produce and everything, too. So I would not be upset if a Mini Axon was the next lefty release. And I think it's so cool that he does lefties. So shout out to Joseph. Shout out to EDC and Beer. Omnumzon. Yeah, that's it. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments about the Vero Engineering Mini Axon, the Kunwu Knives Orion V2, and the X-Tao. And don't ever say I don't cut stuff, all right? I love you guys. I hope you have an absolutely fantastic day, and I will catch you later.